Thank you very much for being with us on this new episode of Talks. On this conversation, we'll be exploring many different things about the neuroscience of consumers and how the psyche of them has changed over the past few years. So you, as a CEO and founder of your company, can take all this information into account and take a better decision about what to include on the message and narrative of your company on your new strategy for 2022. Stay tuned with us, and we hope you enjoy it. Ángel Ortíz is a business coach and seminarist. He taught himself about how the brain works, and now he has been sharing with others his studies on something that is considered a revolutionizing topic within the region, neuroscience. Also, he coaches companies on a myriad of topics like sales, customer service, company culture, and more. Before he became an international business coach, Ángel worked for more than 15 years as a television host for 2 nationwide morning magazines and held commercial manager positions for television and radio broadcasting companies. Ángel learned everything he knows about how the brain works by applying and testing some of these principles on himself through the years. And thanks to that, he was always able to achieve his goals on his professional endeavors, including having been declared as a Central American bowling champion in 2008. After having worked on his professional branding, Ángel is now working on his consultancy company, Connecto. He believes that the understanding of the human behavior through the optics of neuroscience can help us to be better human beings, better businessmen, and ultimately build companies that last through the years, companies that can really understand consumers and connect with them at a deeper and a stronger level. Thank you very much, Ángel, for accepting the invitation, for being here in Talks today, keeping this conversation about the technological changes and how people is perceiving the brands in this connected era. How are you feeling today?
Excellent. Happy to be here.
Thank you. I would like to ask you how it is that you became so knowledgeable about the neurolinguistic programming and this science about the brain and behavior.
Well, I started studying a couple of years ago about this. It's very intriguing, and brain is amazing. Your brain can be your best friend and can be your worst enemy if you let it. This new science, neuroscience, has actually given us the opportunity to learn which areas of our brain are actually stimulated by branding, by anything outside the world. It's always reacting to different areas in our brain, and this has given us so many new knowledge that we can actually know how human beings react and how human beings are some different, but most of them are very, very, very similar in how people react. And I've been studying this for a couple of years, reading books, taking courses, and working with some companies that are actually doing this. And it's very exciting to learn a lot of our brain, and we will be learning more about brain in future years.
Wow. But now, something that really gets me about you, it's that you have trained yourself about all these topics because you have put in practice over all your years and as a manager, commercial manager in television, in radio, also as a champion on bowling in Central America. So how it is that you decided to apply this to yourself before coaching others?
It's amazing because I'm always trying to learn how to prepare myself and how to react. And sometimes I realized that I was not reacting the right way, and I needed to change in order to do things right, like winning a Central American championship. I was winning the championship, and my brain was actually not letting me win the championship, and it was making me doing all these mistakes and getting nervous, and I just stopped and said, wait a minute. You always dream of this moment to win this, and you're letting your opponent beat you because you're being nervous, and that cannot be so. Let's rewire it. So, and then I started to rewire my wishes, and I learned that I did it. I switched the mode, and I turned into really the person that I wanted to be in competition, and that's focusing on that helped me a lot. And then I thought, wait a minute, I can learn more how to change my reactions, and actually you can do it. That's neuroplasticity, and it's changing your habits and what you have learned through the years. You can do that.
Okay. Now, but what have you learned about consumer behavior and how brands connect with them through your years in radio and television?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I think many companies make a lot of mistakes, and as I listen to the radio spots or TV spots and advertising, and I think what I've learned about this company is that they have to study more the target, their audience. Most companies just fire thinking that everybody is going to be the same, and that's not true. It depends on the product that you're selling, the target that you're talking to. That makes a big difference. And I said it on TV, how some products actually have a good reaction, and some other products just are being ignored in media.
Wow. We were having a conversation with Daniel Marcus just 2 episodes ago, and he was mentioning an example in which there was this businessman that created a product, but he thought that he had the perfect product, but then when he launched it, nobody liked it. So it was a huge loss of money, and it is precisely what you're talking about, because if you don't know the audience that you're selling a product or preparing something to sell them, then they're not gonna get it.
That's right. The thing is that the world is not what you see, is what your brain perceives.
That's about the perception, right?
Perception is reality. You have heard that, right? So actually, there is not a perfect product for everybody. It may be a perfect product for you because you like it, because you want it, because you need it. And the way it's being advertised is because you're going to build the need to buy it, right? But not everybody thinks the same. And what happened to this guy is, I mean, he thought he had the perfect product, right? But maybe the way he exposed it to the wrong people. So, as I said, perception is reality, and what I've seen today in this year is there's not such as a communication that can cover all human beings. You have to have segmentation.
Do you consider that there should be a change in how brands approach the consumer nowadays versus how they did 10 years ago?
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Why?
Totally.
What do you think then?
Because there's so much, many medias and in many ways that the provider can get in touch with the customer. And we have so much technology today, right? It's incredible, and we're being reached by technology. And there's a old branding. I mean, it was good because it really worked in positioning a product that maybe during that time it didn't have many competition. And what you have to think about is how you're going to compete by what value are you to give to your product, so that when somebody's going to buy it, he's really willing to buy it and he's going to actually be loyal to you.
Wait, so is it what you're saying that perhaps in the past your product was maybe being sold not because it was the perfect product for the perfect audience, but because you were the only one maybe, and now that there are many voices on the market, then it's people is more selective?
Well, it depends. If you want to go back to the era when the first cars came, I mean, there was only a couple of cars, right? So it was about having a car, right? And actually today's having the car that actually fits you. If you're a sports guy, you want a sports car. I mean, if you're a big executive person, you want a car maybe that gives you status. Or if you like action, maybe you want a car you like speed. I mean, it's been given to us a big variety of options, so you can choose. So there's a lot of competition today. If you compare how many cars, how many brands, how many car styles we have today, during the old days, there's a big difference, right? So actually, in the old days, it was a transportation. Today, it's a status thing to have a car. And if you had like toothpaste, right? I'm not going to say a brand, but there's a big brand in toothpaste. And then how you were going to compete with that? Well, you had a new brand that it was about breath, not about how to be clean in your mouth. I mean, have to have your how do you say it?
So you transcend the product and evolve the narrative to make it not about the product, but something else beyond that.
Well, you have to communicate well enough to the consumer what you're giving, right? What he will expect of what you're telling him that he should buy your product instead of somebody else's product. So it's about communication. It's about connecting. It's about how you connect with the people who is going to buy your product, and with the media or the technology you're going to use to promote this. So this target will listen to your product or listen to what you have to say about your product.
Okay, so how do you think that then we can transcend the old sales speech that is just talking about the product, but not talking about the consumer? How it is that you can evolve that so brands can have more connection with the consumers?
Well, as I was saying, it depends on the product you have and the target that you're reaching. Because if you want to sell something that is its target is, I'm not going to say old people, but old school, it's going to be very difficult if you use new technology. Or if you talk the way that you're going to be selling to someone who has 15 years old, 17 years old, 20, 21 years old. Then you're talking to someone that has 60 years old, but has the money to buy your product, right? So I think it's, as you were saying, it's about connection. One of the things that the mistakes that I think right now, because there's a lot of products out in the world, is that you have to really focus on who's your target, who are you going to talk to, and then learn how you're going to talk to them. Because it's not the same to talk to someone that is 60 years old, 50 years old, and someone that is 21 years old. It depends on your product. It's because the brain is different. It's the young people, they're learning about new things about their brain. But actually, there's one thing that is in common. If you want to sell, you sell to the brain. You sell to the right side of the brain, emotional part, not rational part, right? And that's where this big word comes, sale. When you say sale, everybody wants to stop. Even though if they're walking, they're gonna see, maybe I'm gonna need it. And that's where the rational part comes in and trying to convince you on the emotional part, because the emotional part is what you're being attracted to. So that's old school. Like if you go in the mall, you see the sale sign and you want to go in. That's not new technology. You're always reaching at the same area of the brain. Now, using new technology, you have to learn how to talk to that part of the brain, right? And learning if someone who's actually using this technology, then you have to learn how to talk to them, because it's a different reaction on the product that you're selling.
Do you think that companies not doing that or not taking that into account on their commercial strategies is what makes them feel this like apathetic behavior of the consumer towards the brands?
Yes, I've been giving a lot of courses right now, working with a couple of companies, and I've seen like a repetitive pattern on sales and marketing. They want to give one big message the same to everyone. And as I was saying, you have to know how to target, how to find the right customer for you, right? And if you know who your customer is, you have to know how he behaves. And here's where neuroscience is very great, because you can read and you can learn about the different ages, men, women, and different ages all react in a different way. And there's some areas in the brain that is very reachable, and that's the emotions. So you've seen a lot of commercials, very famous brands, that actually they're not selling you the brand, they're selling you the emotion of enjoying the brand. So you get connected with the emotion, not with the brand, but automatically you get connected with the emotion. When you have the emotion, you would like to have this brand with you, because it makes sense all in your brain. It all connects, right? So that's I think how marketing should be focused.
Now, I would like you to explore with us here right now. What would be the best way to use technology in a way that you can use neuroscience in that way that you're just describing right now?
If I can simplify that, that's a very big question, a very good question as it is. And I think that's one of the questions that many companies are asking themselves. And how do I do this? How do I connect with people? And actually is what I've been saying. You have to connect to people's emotions. You have to find out what's the common denominator of this target that you're selling at, and try to give them what they would like to hear, right? So it's about connecting between what you want and what I can give you. And if I can give it to you now, or if I can give it to you in the long term, and if I will be able to change, because you're evolving. Your needs are not the same as you had 15 years old, or you have right now, when you get married, when you have children, when you have grandchildren. I mean, all your needs are changing, because you're changing as a human being. And if I want to keep you as a customer, and if I have a product that I want you to buy from me in the long term, I will have to be adapting or giving you more options of my products, so you keep on buying my brand, right? It's not the same, I don't know, a razor that you use, or the way you're going to promote a razor for a 21-year-old. Old days, it was, oh, you have to have a clean shave. Right now, what you have is like, oh, the dirty look, or I'm not gonna shave that, and that's what's fashion. So I can give you a razor that can give you that perfect look that you want right now. So I mean, you see, it's how a brand, it's evolving, because humans are evolving. And humans are evolving also with new technology, because now you see movie stars, they look like this, I want to look like that. So it's a communication, it's a connection between technology and what I can give to people.
Okay, so you can create some kind of influence in people through technology, so they can somehow behave the way that will be good for you.
And that's a question that many people ask. Is people a reaction of advertising, or advertising is a reaction of people? They're connected. What comes first? Yeah, what comes first? You don't know. It's because it's so complex. Human beings, they want to act like someone, but maybe this person is acting the way these people like him to act like. You know what I mean? So that will be like a very good comparison. If you want to make a movie, right, and your target is millennials or young people, who the actors are going to be? You're not going to be Robert De Niro, or you're not going to put I don't know, maybe not Tom Cruise anymore. Maybe you'll find somebody younger, and you're reaching that appeal, right? So this is how it's connected, everything. It's the way communication between what you want to sell and what people want to buy, it has to be correct. They have to connect. So there has to be a lot of communication and research on both sides.
Do you think that neuroscience should be by default integrated in every single marketing campaign?
Oh, I think neuroscience has to be a very important thing right now in companies. And maybe that's answering one of your questions that you had before. what you've been learning or what you are learning every day in neuroscience is big data. And the big problem right now I see with companies, with products, is that there's so much data that they're not handling and putting it in a software or somewhere that is going to give you the right information or how you can react. But there's a lot of data outside because there's a lot of data in technology, and people, new companies that actually learn about human behavior and they link in technology, I think they're actually doing the best job because they're linking both things.
Wow, that's amazing, because I think that itself, it's a whole new topic or a brand new conversation. But big data related to human behavior and how people act, behaves, consumes, it's a new world. I think.
Well, you see it right now in social media. In social media keeps track on your likes, what you visit, what you buy. It's keeping track of everything you do, what you want to do, what pictures you take, places you go. That information is actually, it's not gold, it's diamond information for companies. You have to take that information. There's cameras all over the world. I mean, there's a lot of data, as you were saying, out there just for you to buy or to have your own softwares and track it and make the right decisions. What you want, what are you going to use it, and how are you going to use it, and take advantage of that. That's a big difference from now and back days.
And I mean, companies can use this technology in order to create their own platforms.
Of course.
People can use it and they can learn from them.
Yes.
Because every single pattern that they use on their application, on the website, e-commerce, whatever, they can study it.
You know, Jose Luis, I've seen some very common mistake. People think that just having a web page or just sending information in social media and add, I'm in technology today. I've seen so many pages that actually they don't know what they're selling. You get into a page and actually they're not selling to you. And I think what they're doing, they're not actually hiring the right people to work their web pages, because they're specialists in this. And human beings also, they want to save. No, I want to do it myself because I know my product. Yes, you might know your product, but there's so many people that they know how to put your product in the right way. So when you enter a web page or when you go to a social media or an app, actually you're being sold at that moment. And it's communication, you know, it's connection. And we see it in technology today, a lot of mistakes.
Now, I have only just two questions left. The first one is, what do you think that CEOs, founders, or any person being in a position to direct a company should start learning right now in order to take advantage of all this?
Learning in which sense? In technology or learning about human behavior?
Yes.
Okay. I think leaders today, there's one word that they're missing. It's called loyalty. And there's 3 areas in loyalty. There's loyalty to your customers, loyalty to your employees, and loyalty to your investors. 3 very important steps. And the CEOs, they really have to care about people. They really have to show it. I think the CEOs that only go to the working place and travel in jets and that they want to have this big life and do not connect with their employees and do not connect with the customers are the ones that are going to say goodbye to business. They're going to be saying goodbye. This is about connection. The right word is connection.
So just to be clear then, so your suggestion is that CEOs start learning people's skills before they can use technology and learn from it.
I think what CEOs need to do is connect with their own people. They have to know what people want, and they have to work by the side. One question, if you work in this big company, how would you feel if your CEO comes in the morning and says, "Hey, Jose Luis, how you doing? How's the new app that we're working at? Is it working for you? How would you feel if this big shot comes to you and talks to you? You're gonna feel very important, right? And the only thing he did difference is notice you and talk to you. But right now there's a lot of CEOs that you just see them on pictures and you never talk to them. So it's the new leaders, the new CEOs are actually doing the right job and they're selling a lot. Is the CEOs that are connecting with their employees and with the customers. If there's a meeting with a customer, always the sales teams go, but imagine the CEO goes with the sales team. Hey, I want to meet hey, thank you very much. You've been buying our product. What can we do more for you? I mean, this is communication. And that will be if I could narrow it to one word, connecting, communication.
Human connection.
Human connection. Human connection, taking advantage of new technologies. Because there's a lot of people who is afraid to use technology. Don't be afraid to use technology. Learn it. Or hire the right people to use it for you. But don't be scared on technology, because there's a lot of people that are not scared and they're taking the big money into them.
Now my last question, Ángel.
Okay.
What is it that you think that people should be doing to, in 2022, start their own technology presence based on what you just exposed?
My own technology presence. I mean, explain a little bit more of the question now.
Sure. Now, people it's been thinking about, I think, for the last 10 years, how they can evolve their companies. And there is a lot of people that is watching us right now that they're thinking, how can I be on that wave as well? How can I take advantage of it? But I don't know where to start. So what would be your recommendation for them, your advice, so on this 2022 they decide to take that step and jump into the technology transformation?
Well, first of all, there's one word: acceptance. You have to accept what you know and what you don't know. That's critical, because there's a lot of people who think they know a lot and they don't know anything. And what they're doing is not allowing themselves to learn more things, right? So if one of the things I accept, and I accept myself, I'm not good at technology, then I should start learning technology. I want to learn more technology because I accepted that I'm not good at it, but I need it, right? I need it to be competitive. So then I start asking myself, what companies or what types of technology should I be learning, right? And then I put myself in small time frames. If you have a goal that it's a long-term goal, your brain is gonna tell you, you know what, switch it. I don't want to do it anymore. That's the brain. That's how we react, and that's common. So if you put small goals, that's how they're called, the small goals, and you reach it. Like if you put a goal for whatever, I'm gonna learn about this software in 1 week. You have to put terms, a time, and you do it in 1 week. You're gonna feel great. And what happens in the brain is that there's these chemicals in the brain that like it, and you want to do it more, and you want to do it again. And then you put another goal, and another small goal, and another small goal, right? Until you notice that you're going to reach what you want to do at the end. And that's the way you want to start learning. If you want to start learning big softwares, and you know it's big, you just think to yourself, this is so big, I don't want to start it. So you start lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and then you keep going.
So do you believe then that maybe having a website should be a first good step to do that?
Oh yes, definitely. If you have a business, you need to have a very good landing page, your website. It's your presentation. I mean, it's you. It has to be connected with you and your company and your product and your vision and your mission and what you want to sell. And sometimes I see web pages that does not reflect what actually the product is. And that's wrong communication.
It's very common.
Yes, very common. And it's sad because maybe you have a very good product, but you're not talking the language that you need to talk to sell your products. So definitely a web page is a very, very, very important thing to have. People before, like a couple of years ago, they saw it as something new. Now it's something that if you don't have it,
you're out of the
So
picture.
basic.
You're out of the picture
You
if
should
you don't
get
have it
it.
now. Yeah. Yes, if you don't have it, you're out of the picture.
So, Ángel, your last words of wisdom for your audience, please.
Thank you very much for saying their words of wisdom. But thank you, Jose Luis. I enjoyed very much talking about this, and maybe I could conclude it or close this interview by saying that you have to learn how to connect with people, not expecting that people connect with you. If you have a product, if you're a business person and you're selling whatever you're selling, or you want to connect with human beings, you have to learn that you are the one who needs to connect, not they or them with you. So if you want to connect, what do you have to do? You have to learn who you're being connected with. I have to learn what are your hobbies, what do you want to do, what do you want to read, Jose Luis, what do you want to learn about, and then if I learn that, I'll be talking the same language with you, then I'm connecting with you. That's the same thing with customers. You have to learn how to connect with your customers.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. I'm pretty sure we will continue with this
Oh,
in the future.
it will be a pleasure.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for being with us here at Talks. This conversation has been, I think, very valuable for all of you. And I speak to you in the next episodes and we'll be learning more about these topics.